Welcome to another SPbN production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good evening and welcome to the St. Pete by Night Entertainment Network. St. Petersburg by Night is an online World of Darkness role-playing community founded in St. Petersburg, but now spreading to the world at large. My name is Kent, also known as Mishikent on all social media, and I will be your storyteller tonight. And it's Sunday night, and you know what that means. It's time for Red Tide Rising, our Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition chronicle set within the Tampaverse, where a coterie of young anarch kindred attempt to carve out a piece of the territory for themselves and for their benefactor Solomon Creed in edging into the blood trade and destabilizing the Camarilla within the city. Before we get into all that, I'd like to remind you all that we're offering Ko-fi memberships over at our Ko-fi, following the link down below. For as low as $5 a month, you can get access to all kinds of behind-the-scenes material, including the Rosebud Thorn sessions for every one of our programs following the episode recordings, as well as early access to artwork, merchandise deals, all kinds of benefits, and more are being added every single week. So head on over to the Ko-fi, see what we have available, and sign up, and you will be supporting this channel, this community, and this program, and we very much appreciate it. While you're clicking on buttons, why don't you go follow St. Pete by Night on all of that social media you see down below to stay up to date on all things St. Pete by Night. Now, we couldn't tell this story without a pretty amazing cast of characters, so let's go ahead and introduce them now. Players, go ahead and introduce yourselves, if you please.
Good evening, and my name is Garrett, and I play August the Thin Blood.
Howdy, howdy. My name is Ace. I have a matching tattoo with my mom. Shout out to my mom who will be watching this once it airs. And I play Beau Walker, a Toreador.
And I'm Scott, and I play Jeremiah the Malkavian.
Unfortunately, the player of our ghoul Valentina is feeling rather ghoulish themselves, so they will not be able to join us for tonight's session, but we hope that they get better quickly and are back again next week. Let's get everybody caught up as to where we are now as this coterie continues to, well, in some ways, stumble their way through the kindred society of Tampa. Hey, some are doing well, but let's get everyone caught up regardless. First, our Thin Blood August went to meet with a fellow Thin Blood by the name of Spud who he had been referenced to by Vesper after having found a business card with Spud's information on it. Meeting Spud, he learned a little bit more of what it is to be a Thin Blood, as well as the early stages of Thin Blood alchemy, allowing him to go back and start to experiment with the envelop formula. How quickly he learns, how fast of a study he is, we shall see. But with a little bit of that Tremere blood in him, it's sure to give him some sort of advantage moving forward. We then saw Beau and Valentina have a conversation at the Waiting Owl, where Beau admitted to the struggles that they have been having with their sire, Talia, and the dependency upon that sire, falling back into that spider web that is often woven in a sire-childer relationship. A decision was made that she should stay at the bar and try to break free from her sire's grasp, but it wouldn't be that evening, for Beau left the bar and returned to the welcoming arms of her sire once more, taking the second step towards being blood bonded once again. We then saw Jeremiah meet with Skeeter the Ratkin at a video game bar known as the Extra Life, where they discussed their arrangement of trying to maybe have a little bit of an accord with the changing breeds, as far as at least getting left alone for the most part. Skeeter informed Jeremiah that he had spoken with the local werewolves and that, yes, their territory would be considered a gray area as long as they behaved to themselves and didn't call too much attention upon themselves. Outside of that gray area, however, it's anyone's game. So they were cautioned to be careful. Jeremiah then ended up prompting and fishing for a little bit more information from the Ratkin, and even put out the idea of the two separate groups having a meeting in the future. Whether that will happen or not remains to be seen. As everyone knows, the werewolves have a little bit of hard feelings when it comes to vampires. So how soon that meeting will happen and how successful that meeting will be remains to be seen. The Coterie then got together at the Waiting Owl to discuss how they were going to gather vessels for Solomon to accomplish the task they had been given. Thankfully, Jeremiah had already made arrangements to acquire 10 vessels. Beau had gotten a vessel of their own, and August had also gone about the process of starting to gather vessels. So it seems like they would have more than was expected to bring to their patron. Also, the rest of the Coterie learned about Beau's predilections towards their sire, and the threat became all too apparent, as the access of a sire to their child there means access to everything they touch and encounter. And with Talia's Camarilla leanings, that could mean trouble for this Anarch Coterie. Beau was then essentially put on lockdown and has remained as such ever since. But our story begins tonight with the delivery of those vessels to their benefactor, Solomon Reed. So let's get to our first scene now. The story begins tonight at a loading dock. This loading dock is attached to a large building that is a poker room and sports betting facility within the territory of Sulphur Springs. Obviously, with this being the drop-off location, it becomes very clear the influence Solomon has over the local area. And as he is a bit of a bookie, loan shark sort, it's obvious that he has ties to this particular business. But before you go in to the loading dock, you arrive with your bus of vessels in tow, and you have a few moments amongst the three of you before taking these vessels in to be dealt with. Now, the bus was delivered through your influence, Jeremiah, by a prison guard and immediately passed over towards Ricky, your retainer at the bar, to drive the rest of the way. The guard was paid off and said that he would be back to pick up the bus as soon as whatever happened happened, and that he was going to feign ignorance to the entire situation.
I
So
mean,
with go ahead.
he can feign ignorance all he wants. I'm going to forgetful mind him
That
about
helps.
the exact details of what went down.
Okay, that he definitely doesn't need to feign ignorance. He just doesn't know what happened and doesn't need to know. But we'll be back to pick up the bus, or you could drop it off near the prison at a later date. It's up to you. But for the time being, the bus full of confused vessels waits nearby, and the three of you step out of your van and have a moment to yourselves before walking into the facility. The scene is yours.
Jeremiah's gonna call for a huddle, sort of make sure that they're well out of sight of any cameras that might be spying on the whole situation, and he'll say, "All right, guys, I'm pretty sure this is gonna go well, but we need to make a decision about how much we're gonna tell them."
What?
Beau, this is ultimately your decision, but we're gonna have to deal with your sire one way or the other, and Solomon could be able to help us with that.
Want to get even further into his debt. And I know he has connections, but
Beau, I know you know this. I know August knows this. He's said this much. This is a huge threat. It's a threat not just to you, to the Coterie, but to the movement. If we keep this from him, hell, he might already know something. I wouldn't put it past him. If we keep
Rather him
this from
assume?
him,
Would you rather assume what's happening, or actually know?
he might be suspicious because I haven't been where I normally am. I don't.
if we tell him, I have a plan that will hopefully keep it from accumulating a bit more debt. We've got some cards to play.
What cards?
Do you really want to play them for this, Jeremiah? The cards that you have are to benefit the Coterie. You'd be using those cards to benefit the foolish member of the Coterie who has dug their own grave. Perhaps they should lie in it.
If I hadn't tasted her blood, that would be exactly what's going through his mind. But he still is going to leave it ultimately to her. And say, look, it's your call. It's going to take a lot to deal with this. She's connected. I mean, you know her better than we do. She's connected. She has resources. She's older and more powerful. I've put in some calls to some friends of mine from out of town. That's going to take a bit to come to fruition. I want you free of this. And if Solomon can help, it might be worth it.
August, what do you think?
I think we need to be free of this. We're getting a bit ahead of ourselves here. We need to make a show, not to Solomon, but to those watching, that we are a coterie. Said some hasty things the other night. Got a bit ahead of myself. I don't think we've come to that point just yet, but tonight is the first step in that direction, don't you think?
Now, August, this is pretty valuable information to have about a fellow coterie mate. You go telling Solomon about it now, you're wasting an opportunity to blackmail them with it later. You're a businessman of sorts, and you have that Tremere instinct for manipulation. And you already have a pretty sizable debt on you right now that could be called in at any time to Vesper as soon as they get bored. Do you really want to find yourself in more debt potentially, or would you rather be the one gathering debts, collecting debts?
I propose we see how he reacts first to us all bringing more than enough. Now, Jeremiah, I take this to mean that these vessels are not just for you.
No, this is for us.
Good.
I mean, if he wants to know the ways and the means, I'll tell him, but he put this task to us as a coterie, and that's how it's going to look. That's how we're going to present it.
And that's how this plays out. We step in as a coterie, and we decide as a coterie what ends up happening.
Absolutely. So, we don't offer the information about your sire. If he seems like he knows more than he... If he seems like he knows more, try and obfuscate or come clean. Beau, this is your call.
If he prods and pokes, seems like he knows already, I'll come clean. But until asked, I'm gonna keep quiet.
All right, then that's how we play it. August, you good with that?
It does matter whose mouth it comes from if it does end up going that way. Are you really prepared to be the face of us, Jeremiah? You prepared to take that heat?
Are you prepared to let a thin blood one-up you?
I don't know where you're getting that from, August. Beau said that she'd be the one to tell, if it comes to it. We'll support her in that instance. At least I will.
My point being is who he hears it from and how they say it does matter how it's perceived. Now, he'll end up making his own mind about it no matter what we say, even if I were to, which I do not plan to. You presenting this, if it does come to that, gives us a look that he probably already assumes of us. Which is that we don't have a leader, we are a coterie, but we have those who step up. We have those who are the respectable ones to talk to. I know that you had a conversation with him not too long ago, one-on-one. You don't think I don't know what that means for your two's relationship? And how it could possibly get in between the relationship with the rest of the coterie? All I'm saying is leverage what you have before we give up something that we can't really take back.
Jeremiah, this is very interesting coming from someone who, what was it Valentina said the other night? Apparently had some kind of arrangement of their own on the side, potentially.
Now's not the time for that conversation. Like I said, if it needs to be said, Beau, you want to say it, right? And we support. If I have to play one of my cards, I'll play it.
Just needed to talk about it.
That's why we're in this fun little huddle.
Anything
Now,
else?
Beau, I will say, to tell Solomon about your situation with Talia would be an act of defiance against your sire, and therefore would require a roll. So the question isn't, will you tell? The question is, can you tell?
I guess we'll see when it comes to it.
All right, good talk.
Yeah, they're
Um,
always so enlightening.
So,
You worry me when you say things like that with that face.
as you walk around the van back into view of the shipping dock, the garage door opens and you see Doberman, the body man and contact of Solomon Creed, standing there as the brick shithouse of muscle that he is, dressed in a suit, staring with an almost predatory and menacing look, although also emotionless and flat at the same time, a strange dichotomy of the two. Further in the shipping dock, which is lit by overhead by large halogen bulbs that cast a glow down onto the ground, you can see that there's perfect room for the bus to be brought in. Solomon looks appraisingly at all of you, the same circular sunglasses he's often seen sporting, especially in situations like this, dressed in a suit of his own, something that looks fashionable but possibly secondhand, possibly a little bit cheap. As you can see, a little bit of wrinkling around the green shirt, his tie straight but slanting to one side or the other from time to time as he talks. He steps towards the opening and says, "Hello, loves. What have you brought for me today?"
Oh, just a cup of sugar. And I'll motion for Ricky to back it up.
Ricky begins pulling the prison bus into the storage shipping dock. Solomon watches the bus pull in and looks at all of the faces in the windows that are looking around somewhat bewildered, and a smile tugs at the corner of his lips. "I think I only required 2 from each of you. This is much more than that. I do love when someone goes for extra credit on their assignment. Well done, all of you. Now, I always believe in the don't ask or don't tell method, so how you procured these vessels, purely your business. But it's good to know that when tasked with something as this, you can be successful. This should give us a good head start in the trade." He then looks over towards Beau. "Hello, sweetheart. Been a while. How are you? How's your week been?"
I'm doing all right. The week's been pretty uneventful. How about yourself?
Give me a manipulation and subterfuge. It has been anything but uneventful. Three successes. Solomon just smiles that same serpentine business-like smile. "Oh, business is as business does. Although I have to admit, I don't know what to do with all this extra space I've had in my home lately. It's been surprisingly lonely. Did you find a place of your very own then?
I've been staying at the bar this week.
I see. Keeping busy, staying near the Coterie mates. Never a terrible thing. Well,
And
go on.
The performances have been doing better.
Good to hear. Anything I should be worried about?
No?
He then looks towards August. And you? Anything I need to worry about? What you been up to?
Oh, always. You know this. But nothing specific, no. I'd be sure to let you know if it came to that.
Roll me a manipulation and subterfuge, because you are also lying.
Oh, while he's looking over the other two, can I make an insight roll to see if I can figure out if he might know more than he's letting on?
Absolutely. Wits and insight.
Three.
Okay.
I am on fire tonight. That is 5.
Okay. Well, good to hear it. You always expect a little bit of trouble, but never too much. Jeremiah, as you're watching Solomon, he always seems like he knows more than he's letting on. So it's not too unusual to get that feeling from looking into him. He's a businessman. He's basically a black market offense at this point, especially in the blood trade. So he's got a lot of knowledge, to say the very least. However, anything pertaining to this particular topic, nothing seems to be hitting. Nothing seems to be standing out. He quickly moved on from Beau to August, so he doesn't seem to be... He was bemused by her talking about staying at the bar and her performances, but otherwise just moved on pretty seamlessly. He then looks to you. And you, Jeremiah, how are things?
Oh, everything's coming up roses. I know you said you don't want to know, but I do have some thoughts on how to maybe capitalize on this success. You know, I'm not a fan of the carceral system, but you know, we got to do what we got to do. I'll send you some notes.
Well, I'm all ears now, and I've got nothing but time, unless you're wishing to ponder on it a little bit longer.
I mean, the basics of it is, you know, get someone, install someone in the system that's bound to somebody, maybe try and teach them dominate or something, arrange for conjugal visits, maybe, you know, into visits into solitary, and make sure that all the minds are kept clean.
Not a terrible insight at all. Yes, I'd love to see more detailed notes as regards to your plan, but I think you might be onto something. As far as these vessels, you won't have to worry very much about what they remember and what they know. We're going to take a good stock, make sure that the slate is clean, and we will process them and see what value they have. But from the looks of it, you've got a mighty diverse group here. Seems like most of them belong to a certain establishment, but there are a couple of others on there that I see that don't seem like they mix in with the rest, which provides variety, and variety is always appreciated. All right. You've accomplished what I've set out for you to do, and then some. So you can expect a nice and sizable cut of the profits that might come from this particular exchange. I'll have your first delivery ready and waiting as soon as I've processed them and found their value, and then we'll get you in touch with another potential new client as soon as the opportunity presents itself. But unless there's anything else or any other questions, I believe we've accomplished what we've set out here to do. Anything I can do for you in exchange?
At the moment, no. I think we're going to be, at least I'm going to be focused on talking to those people that we discussed last time. Try and see if we can get a little bit more cooperation going in within the local movement. Oh, and there was another thing, that canine topic we discussed last time. Am I right in thinking that you probably, at the very least, want the same deal that the CAM has to start?
Well, dealing with the animals is showing them your belly, in a manner of speaking, is showing them your vulnerability and letting them know where you're located. Ideally, of course, I'd prefer to have an arrangement that keeps them out of our neighborhood. Smells like stray dog enough already. Don't need any more of that stinking up the place. I'm on the fence about it, needless to say, but what did you have in mind?
Well, it's not really what I have in mind. It's what I've already done.
Is that right?
Yeah. Sulphur Springs is a gray area. As long as certain stipulations are kept, keeping the river clean, not causing too much havoc or noise, keeping the bodies at a minimum, they'll stay away during the night. I'll look to Beau and August and says, we worked it out. I kind of slow played you there in that first conversation about it. I was waiting for some chips to come in.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying that we are overlooked by them for the time being until we make too much noise. Is that right?
That's the long and the short of it.
See, you are
Now-
not ceasing to impress this evening, are you?
Now, it's only within Sulphur Springs. Anybody heads out somewhere else and gets caught afoul, all bets are off.
Understandable. We don't need to be getting as greedy as the CAM have been. We just need our little piece of property, and there's plenty to be enjoyed here in Sulphur Springs as we continue to develop the community. Well done, Jeremiah. Well done indeed.
And he'll immediately just like motion to the two of them and says, this was a team effort.
Well, of course, I wouldn't dare overlook the others. Well done, Coterie, then. Excellent arranging. I suppose this is worthy of a little bit of appreciation on my part. I owe you a favor as a group. Now, if you do something to spoil the deal, the favor goes with it. I'm sure you understand that, but if you need something from me, you have it. This is a big step in helping us establish and find a foundation.
That's very good to hear. Now, we of course have our little neck of the woods taken care of. This covers the whole neighborhood. So whoever you've got moving around in this place, let them know.
Oh, I most certainly will. Don't you worry about that. I will make sure all our business interests are taken care of.
And I have to stress, the river. They're serious about it.
I don't have any reason to go dumping in the river. My business is primarily social, but I will keep that in mind. I won't do anything to threaten the deal. It sounds like you've got pretty finite terms that they're expecting, so I will abide by them.
I think we were talking about maybe even doing some cleanup in our little neck, but that's up to you whether you want to go the extra mile on that.
Oh, I think I can at least lend you some laborers. He's just looking over at the boss again to help assist.
Multitasking.
Might as well get all the use out of him you can.
I'll look to August and Beau and says, you guys have anything for the man?
Just clarification that they don't exactly discriminate between us and them as much as we would hope.
Oh, no,
So
we're all
anybody
witches.
coming in from outside, Endorks have a certain reputation, causing trouble. It doesn't matter if it's us. It just matters that it happens. So, again, as Jeremiah said, we'll be keeping our neck of the woods as clean as possible. And I don't doubt he'll be doing the same.
Oh, you have nothing to worry about over here. Doberman makes sure everything is nice, squeaky, and tidy when it needs to be. But you have your piece of the pie, so I expect you to tend to it, as is your responsibility if you wish to keep that piece of the pie. So as long as you don't have any troubles, I don't see us having any troubles as a whole.
Well,
You've been awful quiet, my dear.
Not much to say today.
Unusual for a rose, but I'll take it. Anyway, Jeremiah, you about to say something?
I was just saying, pleasure doing business with you, boss.
It always is. You have shown yourselves to be quite capable, and I'm looking forward to what the future holds for our enterprise. We all succeed together, we all fail together. Don't forget that. But,
well, speaking of that,
all right.
Maybe we've earned just the tiniest bit of, let's say, and I use this word lightly, privilege to know what next steps are. Now, I'm no fool. I know exactly what this amount of vessels can do. It is just a start, as you said. What's the plan? Our deals will keep coming in, as you said. You'll have another one for us soon, but...
Well, the plan, as he put it, is to garner more favor within the kindred community at large. We can sway a couple of the starving cam minds over to a new way of thinking. That always has benefit to it. Plus, I'm looking at a few of the power players in the area. People that have a little bit of sway and influence, but are still feeling the sting of the interruption by the dogs. So if I can make some connections, change a few minds, all the better. But this is a business, so I'm not looking to give away the product for free. I'm looking for the truly needing and desperate, especially amongst the street level. I think they often get forgotten about by the higher-ups in the tower. I'm not going to make that same mistake. The power of the people and whatnot.
Forgetting the little guy is their fucking policy.
Not us, am I right?
Speaking of connections, what was his name? Vesper? Have you had that conversation just yet?
I've been meaning to meet with that one, but I prefer to approach such things cautiously. When you're dealing with the dragon, you're walking into a den, and the dragons themselves are particularly possessive. I figured I'd let him enjoy his treat for a little while first before I come asking for anything, but I intend to this week. But that's the plan currently. And you, my dear, do you have anything you need? Obviously, you have a place to stay, but you're always welcome at home.
Very much appreciated, Solomon. I might stop by for a visit or two sometime this week. Though with the performances gaining popularity, it might be best to keep me at the bar, at least for now.
Well, maybe I'll stick my head out of my little gopher hole and catch one of those performances personally. I've always loved hearing you sing and hearing you practice. Talia, he said home. That's not home. Or I'm sorry, Beau. He said home. That's not home. Talia is home. You know it. You feel it as much as you try to deny it.
At the mention of home, they inhale a little shakily, clutch their hand internally. Not now. Please, not now.
Give me a resolve and intelligence. Three successes. Okay. Even with that shaky breath, you feel yourself solidify in your stance at the moment. She's not home. She's a trap. You will not let that trap close around you. Not again. With that, Solomon looks to all of you. Well, pleasure doing business as always, as was said. If you need anything, don't be afraid to reach out, but enjoy your week. I'll have an assignment for you soon enough as to what the next steps are. But I have to make sure we're working with some good stock first. But if there's nothing else, he gestures to the open garage door. Have a good night.
Do let me know if you need help with that judgment.
I absolutely will. You have a particular set of talents that are very useful in situations like this. In fact, let's get in touch later this week.
Good, yes.
And with that, Doberman reaches up to the garage door, giving all of you a nod before pulling it closed, leaving the bus, Solomon, and Doberman inside and leaving you out. Ricky looks towards the van, then to all of you. Would you like me to drive, or?
We still have, well, yeah, we'll get the bus back at a later date. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's
He
do
then
that.
nods and holds up a hand for the keys. Getting the keys tossed to him, he moves around to the driver's side, starts up the engine, begins the drive back towards the waiting owl. Is there anything you'd like to discuss? And if not, what are you feeling or thinking after this encounter with Solomon?
So as we step into the vehicle, he'll let a beat or two pass before saying, well, that went better than I thought it would. And that is a statement I don't say as often as I would like to. Beau, how are you feeling?
Nauseous. I don't think he knows. And I hope I wasn't acting suspiciously, but at the same time, you never know with that man.
My read on him, he didn't know anything in specific. But that might change at any time.
Well, we've added another card to our deck, as you put earlier, with that favor.
If we need it for this, we'll use it. If we don't, goody on us.
I think it's time we become a little more active. He said that there's other people than Sulphur Springs that he puts his trust in, that he's given reign over as he is us. I think putting us in a liaison position between him and them would be very good for us as a coterie. Our territory is as big as we can handle at the moment, given current circumstances and past. But complete control of the river is not possible without some expansion, and that is our weakest point when it comes to that deal you've made. And I would hate to see it squandered by some random anarch coming through and claiming their own, barony of some sofa or some sort of pride. All it takes is one.
You are absolutely not wrong. I'm doing what I can to kind of keep tabs on things, getting the local gangs and coteries looped into the mutual aid network that I'm a part of. But you're right. Some more focused local work is.
Especially before we start outsourcing, as you said, the names you gave us at our last meeting that you mentioned in this one. We should figure out who the local players are, where they stand, before we start making deals that could possibly get us in trouble with the right or the wrong kind of people. We don't know even how many there are close to us at all. We know nothing, or even our own territory is subject to some squatter coming in. It's happened in the past, Beau, and we dealt with it then, but that was when we didn't have something else, a third or fourth or fifth thing hanging over our heads. I think you're obviously a prime candidate for this, Jeremiah. But we should show force. Not aggressively, but show that there is a coterie here, and that we're willing to do the things that other kindred, and even kind, might consider unsavory. Keeping the river clean, not stepping on too many toes, especially the barons.
Well, the other barons that I know of, pretty far in terms of our territory. The baronies are spread out. But you're right. We need to look close to home. But I do have my responsibilities to the movement as a whole, and that includes meeting with the other barons, getting their temperature. I know, cold. But we can do both. Actually, I mean, while I'm not averse to it, I think, Beau, you can be quite charming when not burdened by certain other obligations. Especially in the
So-
local area, you have a bit of a reputation.
That I do. You suggesting I use what sway I have to help keep a herd in line?
Well, not the herd. I'm the other kindred in Sulphur Springs.
I can do that.
Of course, I'm here to help whenever necessary. It's just I do have a lot on my plate. All right, we're burning nighttime, and I'll sort of pat Ricky and get him going.
So as you're making the drive back, roll me a wits and awareness, each of you.
Given our previous car adventure, I would like to bring up heightened senses.
Okay. And yes, you can add your auspex to the roll. Okay, so 3 successes for Beau. How many for you, August? 2? Okay.
5 for Jeremiah.
Okay. Jeremiah, you're the first to notice it. But quickly after, Beau, seeing that you've locked onto something, looking in the rear view or out the back window of the van, you see that another car has fallen into track with you, although this appears to be a van, not a car, not a SUV or anything like the previous vehicles have been, but it just looks to be a van. And as you're driving, it's following behind, but not at a very close distance. It's making the same turns you're making. It's tracking you. It looks to be a white van based off of the coloring of it. And eventually, as you start to pull into your side of the neighborhood across the bridge of the river, coming close to the Waiting Owl, as the van goes to park in the parking lot of the Waiting Owl, your van, the other van passes by and continues driving down the street. But Jeremiah, with your 5 successes, you see that it's actually a business van for a floral company.
Can I clock the plate number?
Sure. Yeah, with 5 successes again, no problem. You're able to get the plate. Standard Florida plates for a commercial vehicle.
I'll pull out a little notepad and write it down. I'll look to Beau and August, since you clocked that, right?
Whoa, old
Yeah,
school
so-
notepad, eh? What you writing there?
Flower van. Tailing us.
So cliche, just like them. No offense, of course.
Beau, hearing flower van, just gets this distant look in their eyes. They're like, oh no.
You
You
gotta
know,
deal with it.
They saw us leave, you think?
they were tailing us the majority of the time.
Well, it's not exactly new information that we work with Solomon, but it isn't exactly good.
Flower business. That
I don't think we can use this vehicle again for the purpose we've just used it for.
Well, good thing we got plenty of
Unfortunately.
cars.
we do.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. What do you mean?
You know what? I'm not gonna ask. I'm just gonna get out of the van.
As you climb out of the van, are the two of you staying at the bar, or are you continuing on back to your separate domiciles and your own business?
I'll move it. I'll head into the bar.
Yeah, I'll hang out for a bit.
All right, so as you all arrive, the van gets parked. Ricky starts heading up towards the back door to unlock it and allow you access. But as you arrive at the back door, you see hung on the back door of the bar a wreath. A wreath of wilted roses.
If we weren't gonna kill her before, the cliche alone.
I'm telling you, it's just like the van. Like they know how to get a message across. But come on. Like,
All right. Over under on this being a like a Ventru or someone else trying to make us think one way or the other.
Okay. They didn't overthink it. We shouldn't either. Okay.
True enough. I mean, I'll look to Beau and so like, I mean, is she that obvious?
Ask
Have I
yourself, is Beau
known-
that obvious?
Have I known Talia to be this obvious?
She does have a flair for the performative and the dramatic. However, she's never taken steps like this necessarily that you're aware of. She's probably sent you flowers before, but nothing this grandiose or over the top.
This isn't like what she's done in the past. If it is her. I mean, Vesper's pretty quick to clock that I'm a Toreador. It's kind of obvious to those who know what they're looking for.
But that's the point, isn't it? To those who know what they're looking for. To everyone else, it could just be a flower delivery. Not the best product, considering that most of the roses look to be starting to shrivel and wilt.
I'll take it off the back door. I'll hand it to Ricky and say, do me a favor and burn this.
Wait now. There's a possibility of irony here. We hold on to it for just a little longer.
And
That's just here.
it's basically falling apart in my hands. I'm not sure how much you want. I mean, we can. Yeah, of course. Whatever. You want me to burn it? You want to keep it?
I want you to burn it.
Please burn it.
Okay, I got it. Door's unlocked. You guys should be able to get in. And he starts taking the wilted flowers over by the dumpster out back of the bar and starts preparing to burn them.
I'll like hold up. Wait a minute, and I'll say, Beau, take a picture.
Of
Like,
the
wait
burning.
till it's like still recognizable but on fire.
And send it to Talia?
Oh, that's not a good idea.
No,
No.
just so we have it.
We'll need it later, if we live that long.
Oh, all right.
Is this
And-
really the thing
but-
you're not going to trust us on? I mean, we've done so much.
It's not that I don't trust you. It's I don't see the vision here, but I'm gonna trust you and I'm gonna go with it. We'll wait till it is, as Jeremiah said, still.
Okay. So as Ricky grabs the lighter out of his pocket, he also grabs a gas can out of the back of the van and pours a little bit of gas on it. Not too much, clearly with a steady hand, just a drip to get the flame started. And he ignites the wreath. The top of it begins to burn. And as you snap the photograph, black smoke starts to emit from the burning, showing just how dry the wreath was itself. It burns like kindling almost instantly, starting to shrivel up and curl up on itself. This cloud of black smoke slowly rising upwards. Now, if anybody wants to, they can roll me in intelligence and science or academics.
Could I bid specialty in agriculture because these are
Yes.
plants?
Yes.
Rather than that, I would actually like to use premonition as we look at it burning.
Okay. Go ahead and give me that roll.
Okay, rouse check first.
Yep.
Hunger goes up. One success.
Okay. As you try to force your sight at the sight of the black smoke, of the flames, of the burning plants, this decorative ornament decaying away. You're not able to get a hold of anything substantial. You see flames, you smell pine and roses. It's an overwhelming amount of senses. The brightness from the fire, maybe that's enough to be distracting, to shake you out of it, because fire, kindred, bad, never like fire. But your senses are just assaulted by the smell, by the crackling of the wreath burning, by the sight of the flames. It's just kind of a chaotic mess entering into your senses that nothing really pierces its way through clearly. Beau, what'd you get?
4 with a messy critical.
Okay. So, your hunger raises by 1 as you are recognize that there's something wrong about the black smoke. Shouldn't be black. If anything, it would be gray or white. Kind of like that wood fire smoke. It's a plant, it's an organic plant. The fact that it's alive or even has any life clinging to it wouldn't be a matter. It would just burn a little bit slower that way. But this black smoke that's emanating from it is unusual, to say the least, unnatural in its current state. So either what you can determine is that it was potentially laced with something or had some sort of chemical component involved with it potentially, or something unknown.
There is definitely something wrong with those roses. Maybe something on it. That smoke, it ain't right.
I chose science for
Okay.
my role, and I got 3. Is there something I can tell from what you just said about that? Maybe there is something on it, or something more than just normal?
I think you'd come to the same conclusion that there's possibly something affecting it in some capacity, but I'd say you wouldn't be able to narrow it down really much more than that. You can think of a few chemicals that would potentially have an effect like that, but you're not able to narrow it down without further study or possibly taking a sample to a lab to try and break down the components of it. But you can think of a few chemicals that would have that kind of effect. Maybe sulfur, if there was sulfur included somehow. But sulfur also comes with a pretty noticeable smell, and you're not getting that smell.
Are we really that predictable? Had to think on that.
What do you mean?
It's not burning how it should. Lends me to believe that they predicted we might do that. It's not something too hard or too out there to predict, but it is... Ricky?
Yeah.
Jeremiah, you want to pass that plate number over? Floor vans. See him around. Tell him to get lost.
You got it. I'll keep an eye out. Tell them they've got the wrong place or that we're not accepting deliveries.
Yeah, I'll note the plate number and I'll note the company.
Okay. Yeah, it's a basic floral company. Nothing easily standing out, but he takes down the name of the floral company. We'll say it's called Bed of Roses is the floral company.
Just check box after check box after check box. She's got to go.
Takes down the information, clocks it, notes it, and lets you into the bar. As you all go in to get settled, maybe say your goodbyes properly, what's going through your minds after this evening's events? August, we'll start with you, then Beau, then Jeremiah.
August is confused with himself a bit more so than the rest of the behavior of the Coterie members. All of that he easily predicted himself. At least he likes to think it was easy, but he still has that question from all those weeks ago, probably about a month ago now, of doesn't know why this is working, and he's just waiting for it all to unravel. But before that happens, he's getting as much as he can to prevent that from spilling over into the rest of his life and even the lives of the other Coterie members. He is intrigued by Solomon's ability to show appreciation, or at least feign it. And he's thinking about what he said to Jeremiah about we need to figure out what's locally around us. We need to do everything we can to maintain before we start to grow. And then he realizes the hypocrisy that as he says that to himself in his own mind, where he's not following his own advice. And he sort of just puts his head down and just finds a seat somewhere to think.
Beau.
Beau had been doing decently. There had been still a little bit of that internal struggle, but the comment of home, seeing those roses, the floral van, that inner conflict has started once again a little bit stronger. They are obviously distracted as they fight with themselves. She's obviously putting on a show to get us back. She wants us back. No, we can't go back. It's a risk. It's a liability to everybody else. We can't. But she wants us, Beau. She wants to be with us again. No. We can't go back to that trap. But it's home. Back and forth.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Jeremiah.
As he walks into the bar, I think he's still riding on the tail of his attempt at using his sight. It didn't get what he wanted, but that doesn't mean that it's just going to let him be. His mind is filled with, all the things on his plate, all the plans and the strategies, and kind of like in the show The Queen's Gambit, the chess game is playing on the ceiling of the bar. The red lines of string going to post-it notes on a conspiracy board is just spreading on the floor and up the walls as he tries to keep everything in balance, in check, all the plans working in tandem. And he just kind of dissociates for a little bit.
3 separate minds, 3 separate feelings, thoughts, motivations, ambitions, desires. Sometimes the obvious isn't always so obvious. Sometimes what is obvious is taken for granted. Like trusting a Zamitzi. We move on to our next scene where Beau heads to Evanesce. Beau, Vesper said something very interesting upon your first meeting. One, he was able to clock you as a Toreador almost instantly, which, I mean, you are a performer, and performers are hand in hand with Toreador. But he also said something about breaking bonds. That sounds very specific, but also very appetizing. Freedom, true freedom, something that you've dallied with but never have truly had. Because even if you have the distance and the space, that desire is still there, and you know that if she calls, you can't help but answer. No matter what you're feeling at the time, no matter what you're thinking at the time, she's that strong and has that much of a grip on you. And it's been your goal for a while now to get rid of that grip, only to see it reinforced more. Now you've been a kindred long enough to at least have some knowledge of blood bonds, knowledge that it requires 3 drinks on 3 separate nights to solidify a bond. You've had 2. And if you don't do anything soon to disrupt this process, you're going to have to wait an entire year to free yourself. And while a year is the blink of an eye for an elder kindred, one that's avoiding a bond, older or younger, a year seems like a very long time. So as you stand on the metal steps leading up to Evanes, bathing in the purple light cast by the letters over the doorway, what is Beau's thoughts and feelings as they're about to head into a meeting with Vesper, the terrifying but also intriguing tattoo artist?
There's still that internal conflict going. Over top of that, there is a slight rising gay panic from the first meeting, as well as just a nervousness of if Talia should call in the middle of this. Because there's always that threat. There's always that possibility that she will just call without reason at any moment.
Steeling yourself, you head to the front door of the establishment and you find it unlocked because Evanes has always kept night-friendly hours. As you step in, that dong rings out, heralding the arrival of a new customer, perhaps. And Vesper emerges from the back room as striking, haunting, and alien as always. Roll me a wits and investigation. With 3 successes, as soon as the initial kind of dart in your chest of seeing this beautiful and unusual figure emerge, you pick up a few additional details. Now, he's covered in tattoos, obviously, piercings as well. But looking him over, taking it in, did the tattoos shift? Did they move? Did they change? Did the pigmentation change? The color? The positioning? It's hard to say for sure because there are so many and it would take a long study to really memorize the positioning and shape of them. But something seems peculiar. Something seems different or off. But as you enter, it says, "Back again so soon. Good evening, Beau Walker.
Good evening, Vesper. I apologize that I couldn't come back sooner, but I am glad to be back.
Well, I'm glad to have you back. What can I do for you? Are you looking for augmentation? Art, perhaps?
Possibly, though there is another matter that I would also like to discuss.
You don't say.
Yeah, when we first met, you mentioned breaking free, breaking those chains. That, that really struck something.
Roses are one of the most beautiful of nature's creations. But those pesky thorns, a defense mechanism, and also an assault to the unwitting. Has the bloom worn off for you, Beau?
Yes, and no, it's, complicated and, quite a bit more complicated since we last spoke.
Is that right?
It is.
Come with me. And he turns and starts walking towards the back room. And as you follow behind, you can see through the curtain and into the back, there is a hallway. One of them leading to a staircase that clearly heads down towards that loading dock where you delivered his package. But he goes to the left, the opposite direction of the staircase, past one door that has office written in the same fanciful script, past a couple of restrooms for clients who are here for a longer visit and need a break in the middle of a session. And then he enters into a door at the end of the hallway. And as he opens it, you see a dimly lit private suite. It's got the same chair, but this chair has straps on the arms and at the bottom near the feet. There is also a metallic, almost medical tray with a series of instruments upon it, from sharp scalpels to forceps. As you take in the room, it becomes more and more apparent that this is a surgical suite of sorts, but also has everything necessary to tattoo or pierce or augment. As he walks in, he waves a long, nimble-fingered hand toward the chair. Have a seat, won't you? And as he says it, it doesn't even feel like a request. It almost feels like a command.
Yes, sir. Beau will go and sit down.
He moves over to a stool, a leather padded stool with wheels at the bottom, casters. And as he sits upon it, he glides effortlessly until he is maybe 18 inches away from your face as he leans in, and his multicolored eyes, the heterochromia of his eyes, is just enrapturing, but also terrifying. Because behind those eyes isn't the usual passion or life you're used to seeing, even among fellow kindred. Behind those eyes is a dark, empty pit of a life long lived and potentially terrible things done. Tell me more.
I have seen her twice since we last spoke and fed from her. I'm one feeding away from being fully bonded again.
And I take it you don't want this.
Not fully. There's a part of me that screams to be with her, that screams for a home that's just a trap, that longs to be in her clutches again. A mind torn in two.
Which one is the real and which one is the fabricated? Is it the blood or is it the song of your unbeating heart?
That's the one I constantly ask myself. Do I truly want this, or is this all I've ever even known? Right at the start of everything, right when I was raised, everything was locked down. Uh, big COVID. I was locked with her for so long, and I don't know which one's free. As much as I can say that I want to be free, I know there's still that part of me.
Freedom amongst our kind is a myth. A lie we tell ourselves because we are all bound to the blood. But this kind of grasp that she has on you, it's a tale as old as time. The bond between a sire and childer. From the day we are embraced, we are bound. And even after. Whether it's to our sire or our sire's sire. Up and up and up. I can free you. But there is a cost.
What is it called?
Perhaps it is the smile you get when you see a child at play. Perhaps it is the pride you get of a hard day's work well done. To break this bond is to break a piece of yourself. It's to sever a connection not just to your sire, but to your humanity. In a way, you are exchanging one master for another. The second being the beast inside of you. Is this what you truly desire? Or this would be almost instantaneous. And it would be brutal.
So looks down that internal conversation once again. Don't do it, don't break it. But we have to. We don't have to. We don't have to go there. Belle. Why, Belle? Because, though, she loves us. I give up on love. Well, look, back up at Vesper. I'm still not fully sure.
You must be sure. You must be certain. As you're mulling over it and you're having that internal conflict, his eyes are just unblinking, staring. That black rim of eyeliner around the eyes just further accentuating.
And how do I tell which of these voices is truly mine?
Do you wish to be subjugated? Is that who you are? Because for some, that is who they are. They do not long for freedom. They long to be told what to do, to be instructed, to be directed. Is that you?
No.
Kindred do not love. They obsess. To love is to have a heart. To love is to be alive. Are you alive, Beau Jean Walker?
No. Haven't been for almost 6 years now.
Then how could it be your voice?
I do want to break this bond.
You are certain.
I am. My voice that does not wish to be subjugated, that does not want to just be a soldier, another rose in the garden.
Very well. There are methods that I use that others would view and cast judgment upon. Old, archaic, secretive methods. To speak of participating in such a rite would most likely cast suspicion upon you and potentially bring final death. I say this to warn you to allow such knowledge to fall in the hands of anyone, even those that you trust. Knowledge that you've participated in such an exercise, a description of what took place. Such information is sacred, but it is like the blade of Damocles hanging above you. Do you still wish to pursue this course of action?
And I do.
So be it. Wait here. And he rises off of the stool, finally breaking that unblinking eye contact with you. He steps out of the door, leaving you alone in the room. A pool of light surrounding you, shadows cast against the walls. As you're considering, the argument still is going back and forth in your head. Maybe you've gone too far. Maybe in your pursuit for freedom, you're digging your own grave. Talia was safe. Talia was security. This Vesper, they're dangerous. And what they're speaking of, what they're referring to, causes your mind to just go running in various directions. Old, archaic, unspeakable. Roll me an intelligence and occult. Two successes. You struggle to even fathom what it is he's referring to. But as he returns to the room, carries a large metallic bowl of bronze, possibly copper. He moves and he sets the bowl upon the prey, moving the metal implements from it. But that's when you notice he's not alone. Because trailing in behind him are three hooded figures. He starts speaking, but in a language you don't understand. Definitely sounds Eastern European in origin. But as he does so, he has one individual after another of the hooded figures step up towards the bowl, peel back their sleeves, revealing their forearms. And with a long finger, with a sharpened nail at the end, he draws it along their forearm, cutting them open, revealing their blood. The blood doesn't come pouring out automatically. It takes a moment to well. And having lived this experience yourself, these are kindred that have to force the blood to come out. As he continues to speak in the unknown language, he has them pour blood into the bowl, one after another, after another. The arms seem featureless and pale, except for the last, which is gnarled and withered and almost bone thin. And then, finally, restoring eye contact with you as the hooded figures are ushered off to the side, he reveals his own wrist, and with fangs extending, bites into it. And then starts to will some of his own blood into the bowl. He then holds out the bowl to you. Now you bleed for me.
Bo will offer out their arm, pick up one of the scalpels from nearby and make a cut.
Go ahead and make a rouse check for me.
I got a 5 on the roll, hunger increased.
Okay. So as the blood wells on your arm and starts to spill into the bowl, you feel the beast inside start to lash against the chains, bashing against the bars of the cage you've stowed it in. That bowl that has filled with the blood, the vitae of now 5 different individuals, grows all the more appetizing. He pulls back the bowl, saying a few more words. He reaches over towards a drawer, pulling out an herb of some kind, a very unexpected and foreign herb. He starts to crumble it into the bowl. With this act, we throw off the chains of those that seek to control us, to consume us, to rule us. With this sacred Valdery, we free ourselves. And he offers out the bowl to you to drink.
Bo almost eagerly grabs the bowl and will just down it as fast as they can.
As you start drinking, the blood is hot, like liquid fire going down your throat, but it is so delicious, sensational. As you drink the bowl, you consume the entire thing. Unless you wish to make a composure and resolve to stop yourself.
I will attempt.
Okay.
Four out of four.
4 successes. Okay. Before you can consume the entire thing, you pull away. Though your beast is very displeased with this development, your hunger does go down to 1. Vesper takes the bowl from you, passing it to the others, who also seem to raise it to their hooded lips, drinking from it. And just as that hot fire went down your throat into your chest, you feel a sudden pang of pain shoot up through you, as if your insides are shriveling and burning, your bones are breaking. You feel a pain that goes up from your chest to your throat and passed into your mind, as if an icicle is stabbed into your brain. Oh. You lose a humanity, but the bond is broken, and with it goes the addiction. As the bowl finishes getting passed around, it ends with Vesper, who takes the final drink and then leans his head back, his eyes closing or fluttering closed in a delight, in an ecstasy. He then sets the empty bowl off to the side. It is done. You are free, O Gene Walker. And for the next year, they cannot find you. But if you wish to remain free, in 1 year's time, you will come and repeat the process again.
I understand.
But to speak of this is to bring suspicion and death upon you. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir, I do.
Good. I will call upon you one day in the future. You will do whatever I ask. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Good. He raises a hand up to your cheek, and you can feel those long black painted fingernails slowly scrape down along your skin. Not enough to cut them open or to do any kind of damage, but enough to, if you could get goosebumps, give you goosebumps.
They lean into their hand a little bit.
It's so cold, but that's a pleasant cold to counteract that fire that's still simmering out inside of you. Welcome, sister. Now go and experience your first true night as a free kindred.
Thank you. And Beau will stand up, bow, and head out.
So you walk out through the tattoo parlor to the front door. Everything is quiet. That other voice, that arguing voice, is gone. There is no urge or desire to return to Talia. There is no craving for her blood. There is only blissful silence. And while you're swept up in the joy of that, the fact that the colors have grown a little duller, the fact that happiness, purity has grown that much more distant, doesn't matter. Not right now. You step out onto the street. You return to the vehicle that brought you here. You see the bar goers and partiers of the city for what they truly are. Just another cattle. And you know all about that. We now go to break. We'll be back in just a few minutes with the second half. Welcome back. We return in the middle of a chess game between Jeremiah Lockwood and Augustus Adelaide III. The scene, a humble shop just simply called the Spice Shop. Now, August, this is your shop, so why don't you go ahead and describe it for us?
From the inside as we sit, It is a back room that doesn't really look like much of an establishment that people would buy things from. There are tables, all of them very old, look to be even antique for the majority of them. The walls are lined with tapestries and old ornamental blades, ivory. A vast assortment of things covers almost the entirety of the walls. The floor itself has several rugs overlaying each other that look very old, some of them newer. And there's a sort of almost stage section in the back where there's a few things that look to be in the process of being repaired or put back together. It looks more sterile than the rest of the room, which actually looks pretty almost rough. But we sit near the center of the room. There's a bench and on the opposite side a chair where we sit on a table that is just big enough to fit the chessboard. And the lighting in here is very, very dim, but not so dim that you have to squint to see.
The scene is yours.
So I imagined we've both made a couple of opening moves. Not really any confrontations yet. Jeremiah will have heightened senses up, just because, why not? And as he moves his bishop closer to the center of the board, he'll say, August, I want to clear the air about something. When we were all talking and what came out about Beau came out, it got a little heated. And I brought up what Solomon told me. He thinks he knows about you, what may or may not be true. I'm not asking you to confirm it or deny it. I know I may have come off as denigrating that, throwing shit on it. That wasn't my intent. I was mad about the situation. So if it dug deeper than it was intended to, which was not at all, I'm sorry, man.
And I believe you mean that. But was it what Solomon told you from his own information? What is it? Is it what I led him to believe? Is it what you believe?
I don't know. Partly because I don't really care. You're a kindred. And you're down here on the street with us. Whether you're one of the Duskborn or full fat. I mean, that matters less to me than the fact that we're in this together. Your move.
He'll look down and make an obviously bad play. He'll move forward a rook to be stolen with ease, with no counter move back. And as he does that, he says, "You said you were angry about the situation, and how do you feel about it now?"
I mean, I'm still pissed off about it. My anger is where it usually is. The goddamn camp. I'm mad because it's a threat and a vulnerability. And I'm mad because Beau's my friend.
Just a friend? Let's not be oblivious to the things that have been happening recently. That's why we're here, isn't it?
He'll put his finger on his queen and then move his knight. I honestly never thought about her in that way, but the blood is what the blood is. I'm not going to be repeating that again, if I can help it.
We'll see about that. But
I mean, not to say she isn't a doll, but business and pleasure shouldn't mix them.
right, of course. So I intend to see Solomon later this week to provide my services, as I put it at the time. And I intend to do just more than that, little more than that. Poke and prod. I intend to help him as he requests. But like I said, we don't know anything about the street level. And I think he prefers it that way for now, until we're more useful than we already have been. Don't think that tonight changes much, though.
I think you're right. We're in a good spot, but we can't underestimate him.
What we did was make him underestimate us less, and that comes with its own advantages and disadvantages, particularly for me. He'll reach in his jacket pocket that's hanging on the chair behind him, and he'll pull out a glass vial. It's very thick, it's opaque, you can't see inside of it. There's a faint red coloring to it, and he'll put it on the very small empty space at the edge of the table and sort of twirl it in between his fingers. Valentina was not wrong the other night when she mentioned that I have maybe the only one, at least within our coterie, that has the potential to understand a bit more about each other. But they did overestimate some things. And that's how I like it, honestly. They think they know more than they do, and that helps me. Well, sometimes, as you've seen in recent nights.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm making steps into that direction. Steps that can't be ignored, especially by those close to me, for too long. You said you're not looking for confirmation. He bites his tongue, and you see a look of almost disdain on his face. But what he told you was true.
Jeremiah nods for a second, says, well, all right then.
But what he doesn't know is that I've had some help. Maybe he does. It's possible.
I mean, it's always good to have help, but help comes with obligation. So, do you know any others here in the city?
Of course.
It's good.
A couple others. Some of them know more than the rest. Some of them are in the boat that I just stepped out of. And there's a possibility I could bring them into the fold. But before we do that, as I mentioned, we need to figure out where we stand beyond the anarch movement. And that's something that I would hope you would be able to understand. That the movement is only with us so long as we were with it. It's not that different from the Camarilla.
I'll admit, we are kindred, all of us. And there are certain things that you just can't get away from. Maybe I wear my heart on my sleeve a little bit too much. You know I believe in the movement. You know, as long as I have a hand in it, it's going to be as less like the cam as we can make it. And that includes for you and your fellows. I'm going to ask you a question, one that I care about more than the vagaries of your blood. Do you give a shit about the movement? Or is it just where you are right now?
The movement is driven, as you've stated multiple times, as you've said, sometimes not just verbally, with the fight. And the moment that fight ends, you and everyone else will be lost. Now, it's been existing for hundreds of years, so I don't think you have to worry about that anytime soon. Even if you take back all of Tampa and the baronies and all this other things you said, it won't end there, and you know that. What I aim to do, where my loyalties lie, are within this. And he'll hold up the vial. There's commonalities between us all. Even the most old of us, even the eldest of us around. Whether they want to point that out or not, I could not care less. I aim to figure it out as much as I can, so that when I do go, progress has been made. It's not too dissimilar from the Anarchs movement, from their ideals. But what I wish to, what I aim to accomplish, is a bit more permanent. Knowledge like this can't be so easily swept under the rug, especially in these recent nights. So do I stand with the movement? I stand with people like you. As soon as there are more Solomons than there are Jeremiahs in the movement, it's become something else entirely.
Okay. I can respect that.
You'll have to do better than that. You'll have to use it, because there are plenty others just like me, and they're willing to help. But you can't let their allegiances to themselves step in front of that. You can't let their allegiances to clan step in front of that. We've done enough getting in our own way for several lifetimes, though it won't end, will it?
No. I'm not going to begrudge Alec for having allegiances to themselves and being that their primary thing. That's real natural for us. No, there's my ire as that department is pretty focused. As long as they're not with the tower or the fucking Black Hand. God, I don't even want to think about that. I've been thinking about this. I've been thinking about you. And I'm not gonna lie. I want you with skin in the game. I want Beau, Val. I want you committed. Might not get it, but I want it. Because I really do believe in it. Couple of moves, go back and forth. I've had talks with people who've been around a little bit longer than me. A couple of decades ago, the Anarchs weren't where we were, where we are now. We were a vassal, a token resistance to the Cam. The real fight was the tower in the hand. And from what I hear about those fights, one of the most important things when dealing with the tower in a city is taking the chantry. Now, whatever your blood is, I know where your mind is. You get into the guts of it. The power, the blood, the knowledge. And I don't know where that place is, but I know what you want. A lot of it is there. So, it might be a long time coming, but as soon as we can make a play for it, I'll help you push for it. Crack it open, get what they got. Use it to help us, help you, your fellow Dustborn. You sure as shit not let them have it anymore.
A lot of things gotta happen before that's even a consideration.
Oh, I'm well aware. Just know that I'm thinking about it.
I won't lie to you, I have been too. But my method of acquisition is a bit tamer than that.
So you got an in.
Sure.
Good to know. It's gonna come to it one day. The Warlocks are a base of power that we can't ignore and we can't let stand. And if we can take what they have while we take them down, double win.
And how many kindred and kind have to die before that can happen where we walk away from it?
A bunch. Not gonna lie. But I think it's a worthy goal. If we're gonna take the city, it's gotta happen.
Before that, I believe you said some wise words that barons need to talk. But do we want one of those barons to have a bit more stake in our game before that happens?
Well, I mean, I have as much said it to Solomon. I want one of those seats. But
I knew
it's gonna take some time.
Of course. It's gonna take a lot of bootlicking too. Something the Anarchs and the Camarilla have a lot in common with.
I'm gonna let that one slide.
Sure.
And he'll make a gutsy move on the board and threaten your king. There's something else. Val mentioned something about a deal you've made recently.
Oh, I wouldn't go as far as to say it was a deal, more of an understanding, an exchange.
I can't watch your back if I don't know where the knives are coming from.
Well, you know what you know now, that is every direction. But I get your point. I'll acquiesce. Sure, a deal has been made. But it was very selfish. It was a show of weakness. Purposely so. I need you to know that the face I wear in this building and the bar, at the tattoo shop, at Solomon's poker place, at the deliveries, it's not really who I am, and I think you know that.
That's fucking Vampire 101, son.
Good. Well, Vesper has, in a show of good faith, after I made this deal, told me some things. Some things he's interested in. And in the interest of keeping my head, I'll keep that to myself for now, but understand that he's just as interested as anyone is with everything. That's something we have in common, very much so. The only difference is he's in a place to actually gain those insights. He might lose a head or two, but it won't be his own. So I'm going to say something. You're not going to like it. But if it happens, we'll be one step closer to that almighty goal of yours. We'll have an ally powerful enough. And while they may not back us in public, they will exactly where they like to be, in the shadows. We cannot kill Beau's sire by our own hand. It is not something that can coincide with your own aspirations. But there is someone who we can feed her to. And in doing so, I won't lie, and he'll move his piece to the side, allowing you to take his king. It'll put me in a very good position. And if you want my commitment, putting me in positions like that is the best way to do it. Like I said, I believe in you.
He'll take your king almost absent-mindedly. He's been tense ever since you said the name Vesper. August. And all the messing around I've done across the Southeast, it's been fledglings, neonates, occasionally an insilla. Messing around with elders. And that guy, that dragon, if he's not an elder, then I'll eat my pants. You can't assume that you'll ever get one over on them. They're too old. They're too powerful. I really hope that whatever you've done doesn't burn you, at least in the next 10 years. But it's gonna burn you one day. I never want to see that guy again. I don't care what he can do for us. That's bad news. But you're a free kindred. But I don't trust it for a damn second, and I'm not gonna rely on it for anything.
You You underestimate me. I don't trust him. I don't think I can pull one over on him. I know it'll come back to bite me, literally. I said the words aloud. But as long as before that happens, I accomplish what I aim to, both your movement and the lives of those around you, we'll be better for it. This is borrowed time, what you and me have. We didn't choose this. I didn't find out that the darkness that we all live in was actually real and was moving, and call towards it. I woke up one morning, and I went to work, and I did not return. So my real work has now begun. He'll knock his king piece over and lean back in his chair. Talia, Vesper, we make that happen? You won't have to ever see him again. You won't have to care about what he offers us. It's what he offers me. And then in return, what I offer you. And that is my loyalty. And that is my full commitment. And that is what Duskborn I can call to my cause. Or what they perceive as their own cause. Now I say all this with a healthy serving of doubt. Because you never know what might happen. Just like I didn't know what happened that one night when I walked unknowingly directly into the chantry. Or at least a small one. But you know as well as I, if it came down to it, in her current state, Beau would fold. And even if they weren't bonded, I've had the luxury of being absent of my sire for a few years now. But I know what that looks like on the other side of things. You know at least a small bit about the Tremere. And if you don't, I'll tell you, Blood Bonds is lesson 1.
Jeremiah kind of takes this all in, and he's weighing something. August. If I'm truly being honest about how I feel about this entanglement you've made, I'm scared. I am frightened. I'm frightened for you, but I'm frightened for me, because that's one step away. You are my coterie mate. You are the guy who I am in this shit with. And he will jump a piece and then another and another, and it's like he's playing checkers now. They'll snatch me up. It will claim anything it can get its claws on. So I'm gonna put some thought into this, and I'm gonna try and come up with some contingencies about this. You do what you feel like you gotta do. But you put me on the back foot here.
We were born on the back foot, Jeremiah, into this life. I understand your fear for elders. I have it as well. Though what I think the difference is, at least from my perspective, is that I use it as a tool instead of something to hold me back. Now,
You
is that
should
smart? No.
You should be more afraid. He stands up. I don't think this is going to go anywhere right now. I think you're committed to what you think is possible here. I just got to do what I got to do about it.
I know one thing about you. It is that.
Just be fucking careful, man. Just don't go any further in.
That? I could promise you, for now.
I hope you can make good on that.
Me too, honestly.
Good game, man. And he'll look at his watch and internally think, yeah, I can make it to my haven in time. And they say, it's getting pretty late. Do you mind if I crash here for the night?
He'll point over to a back room. There you are.
Thanks. Same time next week?
If we don't all meet the sun.
So as you part ways from your weekly chess game, which is really more of an opportunity to check in more intimate settings, Jeremiah, you head into the back room that's offered to you. You see that there's space for you to sleep out the day and awaken for the night. But what's going through your mind now with these revelations?
A string of expletives. He does not lie about his fear. Elders are the boogeymen. Elders are the unstoppable force and the unmovable object. He thanks whatever might be up in the sky, whatever laid this big curse down upon us. He thanks that and anything else that he can throw gratitude for the beckoning. The best thing that's ever happened to the kindred world, in his opinion. So yeah, he's having a spiral. He's not good in the head.
Besides, if the beckoning was so effective, how is Vesper still here? How are some of the elders who rumor has it are still here? What are Jeremiah's thoughts as to the propaganda about thin bloods bringing about the apocalypse being a sign of the end times?
He doesn't think about Gehenna. It's not because he discounts it or, thinks it's outside the realm of the possibility, but it's too big. And he knows that if he starts including that into his calculus, then he's never going to get anywhere. So it might be the worst idea he's ever had, but he does everything he can to ignore that entire aspect of the world of the night.
But to some, Gehenna is a boogeyman of its own. It's used to threaten young kindred to keep them in line. It's a tool of the Camarilla, who both acknowledges and denies it hypocritically, as they have often done with many things. Truth of it has never been fully uncovered. Still a terrifying thought. And it always lingers on the periphery of those that have been informed of it, warned about it, cautioned against it. August, as you're left back in the main room to clean up the pieces and get ready for yourself to either work or go to bed, whatever the case may be, since day doesn't affect you the way it does your coterie mates. What are you feeling after having shown so much of yourself to Jeremiah, but not everything?
His mind lingers on him saying that he's fearful, that he's scared for himself. And if he's to believe that he was being honest, even himself, even August. So he thinks about that, and he thinks about the night he was changed, and it lingers in his mind, and it always does when these things come up, when things of emotion, of fear, and he can't feel it. And he stands there and he stares at the pieces, and his mind is empty for moments. Before he begins to clean up, he'll begin working. He couldn't sleep. Even the pressures of his blood can't do that to him now. But he's in too deep now. The only way is forward. If he turns back, it was all for nothing.
Ahead. Forward. Our paths lead us a variety of directions. But all paths lead to the grave eventually. Because just like the lie, in some ways, that is the talk of thin bloods, so is the lie that anything lasts forever, even kindred. We go now to our final scene of tonight's story. Our final scene begins with an all too familiar sound. Gunshots. Thankfully, it's not in a situation that puts anyone's lives at peril. Instead, we find ourselves in a gun range, a large cement building with long metallic tracks where targets can be hung and then sent down to the far end of the range at whatever various distance the shooter prefers. There are tables with pistols, rifles, a variety of arms and ammunition available to those who are willing to pay the rental price to use them on the range. Of course, others bring their own weapons, and the ability to shoot on the range is much cheaper and affordable. This is where we find Jeremiah and Beau. You've intended to go to a place like this for a while to teach each other or learn or just prepare for the inevitable conflict that's coming someday soon. After being threatened by the circulatory system and seemingly by the tower in the form of the wreath, it's more important than ever to make sure that you're ready, because there is no hesitation in kindred society. To hesitate is to die or to be driven into servitude. You must be ready. So it's almost closing time for the range. There are no other customers nearby, and the shop owner has gone to the office to make some final calculations, possibly put in the bankroll for the day. It's just the two of you. And you've been told you have a little wiggle room on the closing time. He's not going to let anyone else new in, but he's going to give you a little bit of extra time, possibly due to some mental coercion. But right now, the room and the scene are yours.
Jeremiah is sitting down, ear protection on, waiting for Beau to take her shots.
Beau is going through the routine, checking the gun, testing the chamber, making sure it's loaded before lining up and taking the shot.
Give me a composure and firearms check, Beau. Zero successes. As you aim the gun down range, your thoughts can't help but wander to the silence of it all. Once again, for the past 24 hours since you visited Vesper, it's been blissfully quiet. There's been no pull, no tug, no desire, no argument inside your own mind. You have felt in control. And not that fake control that you think you have while still paying reverence to the ones who made you, the ones who supposedly protect you, those that have claimed you. No, you have been your own. As you stayed the night at the Waiting Owl, or the day at the Waiting Owl, just enjoying it, there was one small moment of temptation, but it didn't come in the way you expected. Valentina, in the other room, full of blood. Blood is good. And whereas before, your own conscience would easily shove away a thought like that, this time it didn't seem so bad. Even if it's by a hair, even if it's by a centimeter, an inch. Your caring for her well-being has diminished slightly. But so far, it's been worth the cost. Because you are free. As you finally squeeze the trigger, the shot goes wide. Doesn't even touch the target. Just hits the cement of the back wall, sending a little bit of rubble and dust popping out of the very, very thick cement wall, which is coated in pockmarks from other missed shots. That wall is so reinforced, you never have to worry about anything going through it, but it is always a little bit startling and a little bit breathtaking when it does. You're never entirely sure. But this bullet just embeds itself in the cement to stay.
Jeremiah will just kind of wince a little bit Little bit of a shared embarrassment. Come on, Beau, you gotta get on your game.
Sorry, I'm a little distracted. I have been for a while.
Yeah, I bet. How you doing, Beau?
Honestly, better than yesterday.
It's good to hear.
And
You
how
know,
about yourself?
Oh, man, I'm doing all right. I am worried about you and August and Val. To my knowledge, Val hasn't made any monumentally catastrophic mistakes, but I still worry. You know, I mean what I've been saying about her, Talia. I I can't stand that she's got what she's got on you.
Do you understand the weight of that?
Not directly. Well, not to bring up past dalliances, but I feel a little now. But I've heard the horror stories. Plenty of anarchs still feel the tug.
Does
gonna get it.
Jeremiah currently?
Hmm?
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Does Jeremiah currently have a gun in his hand or nearby?
Yeah, he has his own gun. It's in his holster.
Jeremiah, hand me a gun, please. And Beau will hold out their hand.
He will hand it over.
I now have 2 guns to your none. You willingly handed your weapon to me, knowing that I know how to use this. If I were not your coterie mate, would you have done the same?
No. And he kind of like looks over at the missed shot, smirks for just a second, and then brings his attention back to Beau.
Well, you cheeky motherfucker.
We are a clan of tricksters and jesters. We poke fun at our high clan betters. But seriously, the first time I met you, we weren't in a place like this, but there were sure a lot of gunshots.
That there was.
And I saw how it was between you two. And I am prouder and happier than you can know that you've gotten as far as you have. You're with the movement now. And in my movement, we don't tolerate that shit. So I want you to believe that I'm committed to getting you free.
Do you understand the hesitance that I had when you asked me to feed from?
Oh, yeah. I was thinking about my options. I just didn't want to set the precedent. I don't want to treat Val like that. And entanglements notwithstanding, I trust you.
Beau opens their mouth as if to say something. Will kind of bite their tongue as they lick the right side of their teeth. Yeah. And will hand the gun back to Jeremiah. You want to try a shot?
I won't say that I can't do worse than you did, because anything's possible. But he'll raise it, look down the sights, squeeze off a shot.
You need composure and firearms.
Zero.
As the shot rings out, Jeremiah, you're thinking about just how much more complicated this situation has gotten. It is so tangled up, and it just seems to be getting worse with every new revelation. Beau bonded to a Camarilla sire. August making deals with Zemitzi. Then there's the Valentina of it all, and the constant looming shadow of Athame cast upon all of your dealings with her around. The movement has always been your first priority. Freedom. The threat of the machine taken away. Boy, getting in a coterie, trying to find like-minded individuals, it's a lot harder than it seems because, well, everybody has their thing. There aren't supposed to be leaders in an anarchist state, but these anarchs aren't the same. They do believe that leadership is still necessary. Someone has to make the call. They just can't be undeniable. They can't be omnipotent. They have to be in checks and balances. They have to be called to task, and they need to pull their own weight. Visualizing yourself as a baron, the future, how are you going to do that when you have kindred like your own coterie to answer to keep in check, to wrangle and try and lead through this crazy existence? Needless to say, these are distracting enough thoughts that the bullet hits the cement on the ground in front of the target. Doesn't go right past, it just falls a little short.
Couldn't do worse.
He starts laughing. And it's mostly, just a normal, embarrassed, exasperated laugh, but there is a tinge to it. There is that intensity, those who have portrayed the Joker in the past have called upon. And he cuts himself short and just says, "We are so cooked."
You're telling me what's on your mind?
What isn't? I know we are paddling upstream. And at the end of the night, if all we have is the fight, we never really get anywhere. The fight is its own reward. It at least for me, it keeps me focused. At least I try to be focused. It keeps me from falling apart. I'm gonna do what I can. I'm gonna call on some favors. I'm gonna get what I can. I mean, one way or the other, one less Cammy in the world is, a benefit to us all.
Especially one that poses such a threat to us specifically.
Yeah. I've got a meeting coming up. I told you about this Sebastian guy. He's a fellow Rose, I'm told. I would really appreciate your help with that.
Of course. I'll have my aid, and I'll see if there's anything I can find out that might help our situation. Maybe appeal to him a little bit more.
And who are we not going to call?
We're not gonna call Talia.
Gold Star. What's your take on August?
To put it in the terms of a musical, he's arrogant and loud-mouthed. Even when he keeps his cards to his chest, he's gonna end up making some powerful enemies if he ain't careful. Probably already has.
Well, they say you can tell a person's character by their enemies. But you're not wrong. He's gotten in bed with that fucking dragon.
What?
I don't know the details, but people of the same age, maybe a little older, there's wiggle room. That thing? Scares me. I told him that. I told him he's bitten off way more than he can chew, and it's gonna splash back on us.
Vesper scares me, but for different reasons. It's a very striking individual.
I mean, you're not wrong. I experimented in college. but not with a 10-foot pole.
That honestly surprises me.
Why?
I just never would have guessed. Like,
Wait, hold on. About what?
the experimentation.
Come on.
You don't seem like the type of person. But
I mean, it
can't
wasn't
judge a
my
book by its
favorite
cover.
thing in the world. I definitely have my preferences in the other direction, at least while I still breathed. But I went to school at Emory. It's in the middle of Rainbow City. Had to give it a shot at least a couple times. But no. Vesper? Something that old? He eats us. Like, I don't know if he has to or if it's just his preference, but literally a bigger fish. Like food chain. He's up there, we're down there.
There is something appealing in that amount of power.
Okay. All right, I think I'm beginning to clock you. If I had a
What do you-
water bottle, I would spritz you.
I
You need to get a water
no.
bottle. This is what this coterie needs.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's funny, Beau, the way Jeremiah describes Vesper, almost as if it's like an overlord, something to be feared, someone dominating. But in your recent encounter with him, he didn't treat you as lesser. He didn't demean you or degrade you. If anything, he saved you. And yeah, on top of the looks, there's the power, security, safety, and if he could snap a bond, what else could he do?
I'm worried about him. I mean, we're all small fish, but you don't go swimming into the mouth of the shark.
Some people, you can tell them the fire's hot, but they won't learn it for themselves till they get burned.
All right, I'm gonna hit this target if it's the last thing I do, and he'll put the earmuff back on and line up another shot.
Composure and firearms.
2 successes.
This time it strikes the target. Nothing exceptionally vital, but it would hurt, and it would definitely send an opponent reeling, possibly mid-arm, maybe on the side. But it hits. A satisfying hit, as opposed to the previous 2 shots that only ate concrete.
He'll hold up his hand for a high five and go, progress.
Beau will high five and then motion to let Jeremiah know that they would like to try again.
He'll take a step back.
Gonna step forward and line up another shot.
Okay, composure and firearms.
Gonna use a willpower.
Just like Jeremiah, You strike the target, but on the opposite side. Maybe a little lower down, but still just as vital of a hit. Just as successful.
All right, that evens out center mass. We can.
Maybe if we put our brains together, we can get one good shot.
He'll be a little bold. He's gonna stand behind her and put his hands on her hands, sort of guiding and bracing her for her next shot.
You can roll the next shot with an additional die from assistance. Three successes. This shot hits more towards the center. It's not a bullseye by any means, but it's a solid chest shot. And it would take down a human for sure. Maybe not kill them, but very badly wound them. And definitely incapacitate them in a way.
Beau will smile and turn their face slightly towards Jeremiah, careful to leave a little bit of distance when turning their face. See? Look what happens when we work together.
Man, that's communism for you, man. Working together. He'll linger for just another second before stepping back, taking his hands off of her. I think we should quit while we're ahead. What do you think?
Yeah. Should probably wrap up soon anyway. It sounded like we had some extra time, but don't want to overstay our welcome, you know?
Yeah. That guy's gonna uncloud any minute now, and we should be good customers.
As you exit the facility, turning to the parking lot, do you part ways for the night, or do you both return to the bar together?
Who's driving? Me or you?
I think Beau would be driving. Want me to drop you off at your place?
Yeah, I don't think you don't even know where his place is. You've never been there, you've never seen it. He'll say, honestly, it's kind of a mess right now. Well, I'll just crash at the bar.
So as you both return to the bar for the evening, Jeremiah, you feel like you've made some progress. This is a positive of something that's happened this week. Other positive? Like it or not, you impressed Solomon. Got some headway there. Politically, that's a good move. Getting in his good graces. The little extra paid off. Even earned you a favor for having struck the deal with the wolves. Oh, you've also made progress this week, haven't you? Broken the bonds that would have pulled you in and pulled you under. And now, a bond of kinship, friendship, camaraderie, trust. In the world of kindred, it's the things that are unsaid that are the true danger. Needless to say, there are plenty of things left unsaid in this coterie. Will it be an asset or will it be a danger? Just have to keep watching to find out. This is where our story comes to a close, but not without one final scene. Our final scene takes us to a couple of nights prior and to a white paneled van with bed of roses inscribed upon the side. The van pulls into the parking lot of a funeral home. And as the door swings open, a man dressed in a very fine gray suit with a very pale look, slightly sunken eyes, a very morbid air about him, has a cell phone up to his ear. I've done what you've asked. I delivered the package. Is it to your satisfaction? Someone on the other side speaks. Very good. Then you've received your payment, and I look forward to my product, Mr. Creed. And he hangs up the phone and goes walking into the funeral parlor. The air of death following behind him. The van would get picked up by a tow truck, having been reported stolen. The driver, never to be found again, believed to have abandoned the vehicle. And somewhere, Solomon Creed smiles, having edged his coterie in the direction he wants them to go, just like a chess piece. This is where our story comes to a close. Thank you so much to these amazing players. Thank you to everybody watching at home. Go follow St. Pete by Night on all that social media down in the description, and take it a step further by joining our Ko-fi and becoming a member for as low as $5 a month, where you can get all of the cool behind the scenes featurettes and extras that we offer, including the Rosebud Thorns for this very session, which I'm sure you're going to want to hear the insight of these amazing players as to what happened tonight. But this week, we've got an episode of Rage Across Tampa on Tuesday over on Twitch. We've got an episode of Hellhounds on Friday over on YouTube. And of course, come right back here next Sunday for the next episode of Red Tide Rising. For these amazing players, I'm Kent. Thank you for watching, and have a good evening.